It was bizarre that people would keep $100 because they'd all interact. You never know what was causing what. It's all chaos. But apparently that happens.
Any more questions?
Yeah, because obviously you've been working on this iPhone game for
far too long.
Because it's been obviously quite a while since we caught up. And how are you actually finding it as a device to work on? Is it quite a difficult system to work on? Or?
I haven't done enough work on it because I've had loads of family stuff going on that's prevented me working a lot of the time. But it's been. It's a try. I don't understand why we had to have a new form of C for us to learn. We're all very familiar with C++, straight C. Why we had to have Objective-C was beyond me. I just need to get clear of that, get rid of it, and just use that as a small wrapper around a normal C program. I guess Apple have their reasons. I'm not sure why. But it's a nice concept, the whole iPhone, isn't it? I love the being able to tip it just like a Wii controller, and I've always long thought that the way you could control a game gave you so many more approaches. Which one of the Nintendo machines came out, and I was really pushing for it to have proper proportional controllers, and they did have it when it finally came out. But I was really pushing with Rare to get that, because it just opens the doors to new ideas, and the iPhone does that with the tipping phone, and you can do different things with it, and I love that.
So you're obviously a big fan of the Wii as well, then?
Oh yeah.
This control system.
Yeah, and you'll know why. It simplifies things. You don't need to read a book. You don't need to learn button combinations. You just swing the bat or throw the dart, whatever. It just works. You don't need to think about it, and that's why so many more women, for a start, are playing. That haven't got the time. Adults in general, haven't got the time that a 14-year-old has to learn button combinations. They just want to pick it up and play, and that's the thing you can do with it. And I think that's brilliant. It should be intuitive. You don't. If you were doing something in the park, you could see how to do it. You wouldn't have to learn anything. You might get better and better as you practice, but you could see how it was done, throwing a ball, and it should be like that. That's what games should be like. Not. I wonder which button it is that throws the ball. Instead, you should just go throw the ball, like you do in real life. We've already learned all those skills. We don't need to learn a different way of doing it.
Any more questions?
I don't have an iPhone myself. It's fairly well established. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of apps appearing on the iPhone store every day. A lot of them are crap. How are you going to go about marketing your game? And
I'm going to rely on him. I don't know. I mean, you can use the internet. You can talk to people, and my name's known a bit.
Jon Ritman.
Possibly.
Well, I did hear that.
Worth a right for Archer.
I heard that some games found success by they release for a week at sort of 99p, and then that because they're so cheap, people buy them and it ramps up the charts, and then after like a month or so, just put the price up to the normal price.
Interesting concept, yeah.
That's what I've heard.
I could go with that. But to be honest, when I started making games, I could get 25% of the price that the publisher got. The publisher got maybe half the price you paid in the shops. 25% was really high, and it dropped year on year until you get much less than that. And the idea that I can put something out on the iPhone and get 70% of the money means that the actual price, if I charged £1.30 for it, I get £1 for every one. That's not bad.
Actually, it's an interesting sort of the marketing side of it. How is it? You must have seen quite a few changes in how.
It's totally falling apart. We were talking about this with Charles earlier on. That I went to develop in Brighton earlier in the year, and publishers that have been in the industry for a long time, successful, walking around head in hands going, we have no idea how to handle this. The market is changing completely, and it is moving power back to the developers, which I think is no bad thing, because the publishers didn't have to take a big chunk. Charles didn't go into the full details of how many millions one of his games made and how much publishers made out of it and how big the negative sum that he actually made out of it was. But he did tell me earlier.
Any more questions?
How excited are you about the availability for developing games? The current console generation, where Xbox, in fact, anyone can make a game. How exciting is that to do they made them when it was really hard to do?
Well, the beauty of this is, if you go back to the early days, the early 80s, I could sit in a bedroom and, as I did, and make a game, and all that was cost was my time. I had a job. I went to work full time, came home in the evening and did it then, and that meant it was just free time. It was a hobby, and I could do anything I wanted. There was no restriction. If it didn't sell, it didn't sell, but I could make anything up. Now, when you move on to more recent times, where you have teams consuming hundreds of thousands of pounds a month, people get awfully cautious. The people who have the money, which is not the developer, just get awfully cautious. They want a sure thing. They don't want to take a chance. That's too high risk for them. So, the question from the bean counters is, what was big last year? Can we do that? It becomes very conservative. The idea that people can just, once again, just anybody can do it means that you get a whole new raft of ideas. And some of those, most of them will be derivative of other things, but some people will come up with something new. And that will be great because people feed off ideas. Other people will, people like that get employed quite quickly. They get deals and brilliant that they get that opportunity. I love it.
Which games have you seen recently that have interested you, excited you, because they are different?
I had to admit that the only thing I've been playing recently, much to the detriment of the game I should be working on, is an online game called Ebony, which is just a big battle game. What I'm interested in because it's so much about the human beings playing it rather than about the game, about how they interact and the betrayals and cooperation aspects of it, which is enormous, going on all the time, and negotiations going on between large groups of people. I mean, I play in an alliance on second in command of the second stage of it, and there's about 160 of us, I think, playing together. That's quite weird to have that many people all on one side and negotiating with other huge alliances as well. No, you don't fight us or we'll fight you. Or maybe we can all cooperate and fight them.
I remember reading a feature in Ace magazine talking about online gaming. It was quite a few years ago now, and they actually suggested that Head Over Heels could be the perfect online cooperative game, in that you could have so many people in an area and they'd have to cooperate to get past puzzles, or maybe even, as you say, betray each other. You could have someone refusing to push a switch or ferry someone across a room. That could be.
I'll be thinking about that tonight now.
So, any more questions?
Have you any plans for any Xbox Live content, or do you think you'd go Xbox Live?
I've not looked at it, but once I finish the iPhone, there's no reason I can't put the game on other platforms. I've tried to make as generic an engine as possible for it. and so it should be quite easy to put on almost any platform, hopefully.